My experience with LiDAR sensing began when I joined Dr. Mitchell's ENME 489Y remote sensing class. The basis of this class was to learn the meat of remote sensing and then apply it to creating a field deployable LiDAR sensor. LiDAR sensing is the emission of laser pulses and measurement of them with a sensor to collect data on item positioning and location. One of the initial steps was to choose a target. I chose the University of Maryland bench that sits atop Frat Row along Route 1 Baltimore Avenue. This target seemed like a good fit for the project because it is large and easily accessible during the nighttime. I thought the different facades would be fun to experiment with the sensor. Had I chosen my target after understanding the intricacies of LiDAR sensing, I would have picked a smaller and more manageable target. With the background knowledge of remote sensing from Dr. Mitchell's thorough lectures, it was time to start designing the sensor. It is comprised of a base with the components as well as a computer. On our base, we have the laser pointer, the Arduino connected to an accelerometer to measure angle, the Raspberry Pi, a battery pack, portable, and a camera. At first, I put these items on a piece of cardboard, but that was too flimsy and I was unable to secure the laser. I used two pieces of cabinet wood instead because they are sturdy. I hinged them together so I could keep the sensor stationary on the ground, but angle the top part up to follow the target. This is a LiDAR sensor because of the laser, which sends out a light as a signal, and the camera, which receives the signal and measures the coordinates based on Raspberry Pi programming. The accelerometer determines the angle at which the base is tilted in different directions in order to calculate the coordinates and plot them on a map. The Raspberry Pi is connected by Ethernet cable to the PC. Therefore, I can connect to the UMD public Wi-Fi on the PC with the monitor available. And then I can use that to SSH into the Raspberry Pi and connect it to the VNC. In order to calibrate the sensor, I collected data using Python laser tracking code from Dr. Mitchell in Homework 5. This process included positioning the sensor at 6-inch increments for 10 feet and then calibrating the data to match theoretical positioning with the radians per pixel pitch value and radian offset value. For sensor deployment, I set up the LiDAR at the target along Baltimore Ave facing east to capture the front of the bench. The sensor was approximately 7 feet from the closest part of the bench, the left armrest. I took scans vertically at approximately 4 inches apart using the Homework 7 Python tracking code for the front face of the target. I pause after each full vertical collection from ground to top to ground again. The timestamps would help me separate each scan of data. This process collected data points continuously into a text file. This video shows live footage of me collecting data at the target. It was important for me to start the laser as low as possible and slowly move it up in a straight line and collect data along the way. In the background, you can hear the sounds of traffic. The lights of the traffic were an obstacle for collecting data, but they did not seem to interrupt it that often. The data processing proved to be difficult for me. It consisted of using the provided MATLAB code to plot the collected data from the scans. The important outcome of this code was the 3D point cloud of the bench and an updated text file with the location of the points. This new file was then imported into MeshLab 2016 to create a 3D model from the scans. As I am new to point clouds and MeshLab, I was not able to process this data to look like the front face of my target. Here you can see me trying to process the data by showing the normal lines and creating a mesh layer. It was very difficult to get all the normals to face a certain way, and I found that the value 18 was the most ideal in the situation. I then added a mesh layer to see if I could get the points to look like a 3D version of the target. This layer does not really look like the target, and with more time and mesh lab skills, I would like to make it look more ideal. Overall, this project was extremely eye-opening to the process of creating a sensor and deploying it. I really enjoyed learning about LiDAR sensing with Dr. Mitchell and hope to work with it again in the future.